there is one thing you should know about sleepovers with your friends, it's that when you fall asleep, anything can happen. And I mean anything. And I'm gonna tell you about a sleepover I had that went way too far. But to understand how we got to this night, I have to rewind a little bit. So a couple months prior to this evening, my friends and I had a sleepover at a guy named Randy's cabin. Now, if you've ever watched this video, you would know all about that night. But let me summarize it real quick. My friends and I all went to Randy's cabin to have a sleepover, and the night started out normal with us doing the usual sleepover things. But unfortunately, I made the #1 biggest mistake you can't do at a sleepover. I fell asleep first. And because I was the first one to fall asleep, my friends decided to prank me by moving the mattress I was laying on onto the lake right outside the cabin. So I woke up literally in the middle of the lake, having no idea where I was, thinking this was a nightmare. Like, it was genuinely one of the most horrifying nights of my life. And who was the person who orchestrated this whole prank on me? Randy. I laughed it off in the moment when it happened, but deep down, I knew I needed to get Randy back. I needed to get revenge. But I didn't know how I was gonna do this at first because he pranked me in such a big way, I had to get him back even bigger. So fast forward after a few weeks of me brainstorming the perfect payback, when finally it hit me. I had the perfect revenge plan on him. So I sent my whole friend group a text. Sleepover at my place Friday? They all replied instantly. Say less. I'm in. And then the man himself, Randy, texted, bet. Just don't fall asleep first again, Tyler. Ha ha ha. I stared at that message for a long time because what Randy didn't know is I was gonna be the one laughing this time. Or at least so I thought. So what was my perfect revenge plan for this sleepover? Well, you'll find out very soon. But let's just say it involved me buying a realistic fake human leg. It wasn't some goofy Halloween gag leg. No, this thing had a knee, veins, skin tone, toes, and even a little bit of fake hair. Like, if you walked into a room and saw this thing sticking out from under a blanket, you wouldn't think, oh, that's a prop. My plan was simple. Step 1, wait for Randy to fall asleep. Step 2, slide the fake leg next to his real one under the blanket. Step 3, make it look like it's his actual leg. Step 4, wake him up just enough so he's aware of what's happening. Step 5, smash the fake leg with a sledgehammer the second he opens his eyes. And step 6, make him think we just broke his leg. Physically, he'd be fine, but mentally, that's where I was really trying to get payback. But little did I know, this prank would backfire on me horribly, and in a way you would never guess. So Friday night comes around, and all the boys are arriving at my place one by one. Jake shows up first, because he always does. This man treats the time I tell him to arrive at a sleepover like a doctor's appointment. He is not getting there late. He walks in, opens my fridge immediately, and goes, yo, what you got in here? Nada. I don't know if his parents just don't feed him at home or what's going on there, but anyways, then Marcus shows up next, dragging a backpack that sounds like it's full of bricks. I ask him what he has in there and he just says, don't worry about it. That's kind of concerning, but whatever, that's Marcus. And then finally, Randy walks in. Backpack on one shoulder, hoodie half zipped, and that same smug little expression like he's the main character of the friend group. When he walked through the front door, he had a grin on his face, and I could tell in that moment, he was thinking back to the last sleepover we had and how good he got me, wondering what we had in store for tonight. But what I didn't realize at the time was I wasn't the only one who had something planned. So I smiled back at Randy, trying very hard not to look like a man who has a fake leg hidden in his closet. Also, an important part to know for this story, the reason this night was perfect for the sleepover was because it was my parents' anniversary. So they were celebrating by taking a trip. So in my house, it was just me and my friends. That would be an issue later though. We set up camp in the living room, acting as if this time we were just gonna be having a normal sleepover. Nothing crazy. We start with video games. We're yelling, trash talking, accusing each other of cheating. And during these first couple of hours, I was keeping a very close eye on Randy. I wanted to make sure he wasn't suspicious that I was gonna get any sort of payback that night. I wanted him to be as comfortable as possible. And from everything I could see, he had no idea what was coming, but I was wrong. So wrong. Because after a couple hours, the vibes started to shift. It's probably 1 a.m. now, and everyone's starting to get a little bit tired. So in an effort to get Randy to fall asleep, I say, hey, let's put a movie on the TV, turn the lights off, and I'll lay down to watch. This is when I could feel some tension, because keep in mind, literally the last sleepover we had prior to this was the one where I got thrown into the lake on a mattress. So in the back of everyone's mind, we were all just a little on edge, knowing that someone might have something planned. And they were right, but apparently I wasn't the only one with a plan. Because of this PTSD, no one wanted to be the first person to fall asleep. Like, we were all getting tired, but whenever one of us got close to falling asleep, we'd go on our phone, throw water on our face, or do something to keep us up. So just like before, I'm watching Randy like a hawk, hoping that he's the first one to doze off. At first, he's wide awake. After a little bit, I realized that I needed to do something to make everyone feel comfortable with going to sleep. So I said, guys, let's make a promise, okay? No matter who falls asleep first tonight, no pranks. I'm serious. My house, my rules. If any of you do anything, I'm kicking you out. I'm looking at you, Randy. When I said that, he put his hands up and said he promised not to do anything. And I think the fact that I singled him out made him think, okay, well, if I don't do anything to them, no one will do anything to me, which made him a little more comfortable with going to sleep. I'm still watching him like a hawk, hoping what I said eases everyone's nerves. And what do you know? It worked. About 5 minutes after I said this, I could see Randy's eyes start to get heavy. He tried to hide it, but I could tell he was close. He's about to fold. What really helped was, by this point, Marcus already fell asleep and no one was trying to mess with him, so I think that reassured him. And then finally, the moment I was waiting for happened. Randy fell asleep. I give it about 10 minutes just to make sure he's fully out. Probably already dreaming about being in a relationship with LeBron. Or is that just me? Okay. And once I know he's fully asleep, I slowly sit up. But what I didn't tell you earlier was I told the rest of my friends about this plan before the sleepover because I needed their help with it. And I know you might be thinking, Tyler, but weren't they a part of the original prank on you? Well, yeah, but I know it never would have happened if Randy didn't set it up. So I didn't hold a grudge against any of the other guys. So I wake up Marcus and whisper, Marcus, it's time. Jake and Marcus both smile. I don't think they cared who was getting pranked as long as they got to instigate it. I slipped out of the living room quietly towards my room. I opened my closet and there it is, the leg. When I come back into the living room, my friends are hyped. This was the first time they were seeing it and it looked so real. For a second, they were legit thinking that I just went to the neighbor's house and chopped someone's leg off. Then we started setting up the prank. We gather around Randy's feet. He's lying on his back now, one knee slightly bent, blanket covering everything mid-chest down. So we carefully lift the blanket up, making sure he does not wake up. Because if he did, and he caught us, we knew he wouldn't go back to sleep for the rest of the night. So we had one opportunity, one chance to get this perfect. So I position the fake leg next to his real one, and it looks identical. Everything is in position. Jake pulls his phone out, camera rolling. I've got the sledgehammer in my hand, which was my dad's that he had for, well, I don't know why he owns a sledgehammer actually, but anyways, I grip the hammer. Wait, pause. I pick up the sledgehammer with my hands in a non-weird or freaky way, and in this moment, I was super nervous. If I mess this up, if I slip while trying to swing it, if I hit the wrong thing, who knows what could happen? I've got one chance, and it's gotta be perfect. So I give the boys the nod, signaling that it's go time, and Marcus leans down close to Randy's face and gently shakes on his shoulder. Yo, Randy, wake up. Randy groans and makes that half-asleep zombie sound. And his eyes just start to open. At first, he looks at my friend, and then my other friend, and then he sees me. Standing by his feet, holding a sledgehammer over my head. His eyes squint as he's waking up, and you can see the exact moment his brain goes, wait, what's happening? He manages to barely blurt out, Tyler, what are you doing? And right in that moment, I bring the hammer down with all the force I've got. Okay, wait, that sounds weird too. Pause. I need to find a better way of saying this. I slam the hammer. No, that's bad too. Using gravity and my arms, I throw the sledgehammer down in a forceful motion. And then, bang! The hammer hits the fake leg. And Randy unleashes a scream I've never heard a human make before. Super high pitched. You would have thought he was trying to hit the high note on an Adele song. And then he goes, my leg, what did you do? He pops up, grabs his real leg with both hands, and his eyes are bulging with the most terrifying look on his face I've ever seen. And for a second, all of us are thinking, oh my gosh, wait, did I mess up? Did I accidentally hit his real leg? I dropped the hammer, shaking. I did it again. Is there any way to say hammer without it sounding inappropriate? Anyways, I pull his blanket back to see if I messed up. And finally, I can exhale. I hit the fake leg. His real one was perfectly fine. And it was in this moment that Randy saw the fake leg for the first time. Then he looked at his real one, which was very much still intact and not broken. He then lets out a huge exhale, and you can literally see his soul catch up to his body in real time. Then he goes, I hate you guys. Genuinely. The rest of us are cracking up thinking we got him so good. But Randy, he had a stone cold face when he was saying this. Not even like a little bit of a smirk. You could tell this actually scarred him. But what we didn't know at the time was he wasn't just gonna let that slide. I said to Randy, looks like we're even now, right? And this was the moment where I should have known I messed up because Randy looks me in the eye and goes, we'll see. In my mind, I thought this prank would have made it even between me and Randy. But it turns out he disagreed. Because after this prank, we all went to bed for real. This was it. We did the prank. Everyone was tired. We can all go to sleep now without worrying about anything happening for the rest of the night. But I should have known that was too good to be true because around 3:30 a.m., I don't know why weird things always happen at 3 a.m., but this was when it happened. But anyways, at this time, I wake up to violence. What is it? The smoke detector alarm in my house was going off. I jolt up right away, heart racing like I just drank 10 energy drinks, because remember, my parents aren't home. It's just me and my friends. So if anything that has to do with fire was happening, I gotta take care of it, which is a big problem because I asked my parents for help on anything. I asked my dad to tie my shoes for me the other day. So my friends all wake up at the same moment I do, and Jake is already screaming, "What is happening?" Marcus rolls over, hits his head on the coffee table, and shouts, "Is something on fire?" I run towards the alarm in the kitchen, which was where it was beeping, expecting to see smoke or flames or something. But when I get there, nothing. No fire, no smoke, no smell, just that ear-piercing alarm sound shrieking like the house is seconds away from exploding. So I wave a dish towel under the detector and finally it stops. My heart is still pounding when I go back to the living room to see if anyone knows what just happened. And that's when I notice Randy's gone. His pillow is there, his blanket is there, but no Randy. When my friends and I notice this, we all look at each other. Where did Randy go? And more importantly, what did he do? Surely he wouldn't want to get revenge by, like, I don't know, burning my house down? No, right? He wouldn't go that far. So we check the bathroom. Nothing. We check my room. Empty. We go to the backyard. No one there. We had no idea what was happening, but it seemed obvious that Randy was in the middle of it. The only thing I didn't know was just how far he was about to take this. Because after we knew Randy was gone, we tried calling him, pranking us back by somehow triggering the smoke alarm. Funny, haha, I get it. But I at least needed to make sure nothing was actually burning or about to catch on fire. But when I called him, right next to me, I heard. We lifted up his blanket and saw Randy left his phone right where he was sleeping. This made no sense because we checked through the whole house. He obviously wasn't in here, but wherever he went, why would he leave his phone? Or did we just have the situation all wrong? Maybe Randy wasn't the one doing this. So we searched the house again, under tables, behind doors, in closets, like he's gonna be playing hide and seek or something, but there was no sign of him. We're all too rattled and tired to process this correctly. But then I noticed something weird. I can hear the wind coming from outside, but that didn't make any sense because all our doors and windows were locked, or so I thought. Because I followed where I heard the wind coming from, which led me to the garage door. And what did I see? The door to the garage is cracked open. Just barely, but open. That door was for sure closed when the night started. I knew that for a fact. And none of my friends had any reason to go in the garage, so it made no sense for it to be open. We're all thinking the same thing. Randy must be hiding in here. So we opened the door to the garage, stepping into it like a SWAT team ready for whatever we thought Randy had planned. But the second we're inside, we don't find Randy, but we did find something else. The garage door that the cars go through was fully open, like wide open. And I knew for a double fact that this door wasn't open before we went to sleep. So Jake starts panicking. Nope, we're not doing this. We're not doing this tonight. And that's when it happens. We hear the sound of a motor start up, and then the garage door shuts by itself without any of us doing anything. Someone was controlling the garage door. And I know what you're all thinking. Well, Tyler, obviously it's just Randy messing with you guys. Yeah, that would have made sense if it weren't for the fact that the button to the garage door was right next to us and no one was pressing it. So now nothing is making sense at all. Between the smoke detector going off without any smoke and the garage door opening and closing by itself, this was starting to feel more like a ghost than it did Randy. And guys, I know this might sound crazy and hard to believe right now, but trust me, it'll all make sense very soon. After the garage door shut, there was just silence. None of us spoke for probably a full 10 seconds. We keep searching the house for answers, thinking maybe we just missed Randy. Maybe he's in a really good hiding spot. But after another 15 minutes or so, we weren't getting anywhere. There were no clues as to what happened, and Randy didn't seem to be coming back anytime soon. Then Marcus went. He probably just went for a walk to clear his head. You know how he is. That did seem possible. Randy would just go for walks like that for some reason. So because we were all tired, we just assumed that's what he did. And for the smoke alarm, we thought it was just a malfunction. So we went back to the living room, lied down, and tried to go back to sleep. It feels like maybe 5 minutes passed by when again, I'm being waken up like a veteran getting war flashbacks after hearing fireworks on the 4th of July because I explode off the floor. This time, there's no confusion. I'm just trying to figure out exactly what's happening. The alarm is screaming again, but this time when the alarm went off, there's something else, a smell. It's not very strong, but it smells like smoke. So right away I go, do you guys smell that? Marcus sniffs the air and his eyes get wider as he goes, oh no, that's not good. That's not good. It doesn't smell like someone just burnt some pizza rolls. No, this smelled like a fire could be starting. We run through the house like firemen, looking for the source of the smell. Kitchen? Nothing. No flames, no smoke. We check the outlets, light switches, anything that could be causing a fire. I don't know what causes it. I'm not an electrician. But everything looks fine. The alarm keeps blaring until we fan it again, waving shirts at it like we're fighting a wasp. Now, it was back to silence. But the smell stayed. It wasn't overpowering, but it was there. Marcus whispered to me, yo, should we like call your parents? And let me tell you, the last thing I wanted to do was wake them up at 3 in the morning on their anniversary and say, hey, so our house may or may not be about to explode. And also, Randy's missing. So I say back to Marcus, let's just look around one more time. We check everything again, but still no sign of where the smell is coming from and no sign of Randy. Right when the smoke detector alarm shuts off for the second time, we all just stand there in the hallway looking at each other. The smoky smell is still floating around the house, and listen, we may have been tired enough to go back to sleep after the smoke detector randomly went off one time, but with the smoke detector going off and the smell of smoke, it was starting to feel like something dangerous could be happening. And now, I didn't know if this was just Randy anymore. I mean, yeah, we pranked him good, but he wouldn't like blow up my house as revenge, right? He wouldn't do that. Like, that would low-key be an L friend move if he did that. But we're out of ideas. We don't know what to do. So as much as I didn't want to, I give in, I grab my phone, and I call my parents. My mom answers right away. It's like she's got a spidey sense whenever her kids may be in trouble.
Hello? What's wrong? Why are you calling so late?
Mom, the fire alarm in our house went off twice, and the house smells like smoke. She pauses. Then my dad's voice cuts in behind her.
What do you mean it smells like smoke? Did you check in the kitchen?
Yeah, the stove's off, the oven's off, nothing's burning. They don't respond for a second, but then
Tyler, go check the stove again. Touch the burners. Make sure they're cold.
I put my hand near them, and they're cold. Completely cold. Yeah, nothing's on. I can hear them both exhale, but it's not a good exhale. It's the kind where you can hear them getting stressed.
Okay, listen to me. If the alarm goes off again, or if the smell gets stronger, call the fire department.
Jake's eyes widen in horror again, and he goes,
The fire department for a sleepover?
and Marcus goes,
We're gonna be on the news.
I lift the phone back to my ear and go, okay, so just pay attention to the smell and call them if it gets worse.
Exactly. That smell inside a house can be dangerous, even if you don't see any fire.
I'm nodding, taking it in, but then the most scary thing I witnessed that night happened. And the reason why it was so scary was because at the time, there was no explanation for it. But stay with me, you'll understand what I'm saying very soon. Because then I heard barking, loud, sharp, aggressive barking from my parents' room. I freeze because my dog never barks like that at night. Yeah, when he sees the mailman, he'll chase him for 15 blocks and try to bite his leg off, but not at night. He usually gets more REM sleep than I do at this time. So me, Jake, and Marcus are starting to think, wait, like, can the dog sense that an explosion or something dangerous is about to happen? Because I've heard before dogs can sense when an earthquake is coming. Don't know how true that is, but I'm just gonna believe it because I believe everything I read off the internet. But when we run into my parents' room, he's barking, like just staring at the ceiling, barking as loud as he can at literally nothing. I'm thinking, maybe he actually is seeing a ghost. So I pet him, trying to calm him down, and only then does he start to chill out a little bit. Once again, we were so tired that we just came to the conclusion that the dog was acting crazy because we were acting crazy and it riled him up. I think we told ourselves this to make it seem less creepy, but we shouldn't have done that because the dog barking was a sign and we would figure that out later. We went back to the living room, not even attempting to fall back asleep this time. We just sat there on the floor in silence, too scared to sleep, too tired to move. We're sitting there for a good 10 minutes, just kind of talking. No chance any of us are gonna try laying down again. But then the TV randomly turns on. I see the huge Samsung logo on it that appears every time you power it on. And I'm looking at my friends thinking, oh, they must have just turned the TV on because they're not going back to sleep. But when I look around, I realize the remote is right next to the TV. Neither of them have it. And before any of us could react, the screen lights up with the volume maxed out and it goes. We all flinch and we look at the TV and in all caps it says, emergency alert, tsunami warning, seek high ground immediately. Stay with me now, we're almost at the part where this is all gonna make sense. Jake yells, tsunami? What? Marcus shouts, oh, it's the big one. It's finally here. The siren tone is deafening. And for those of you who don't know, I live in California and apparently scientists believe that sometime in the future, there will be a huge earthquake here that could cause a tsunami, like a catastrophic one. So we all thought that was what was happening. That's why Marcus said, this is the big one, because that's what everyone calls it. The words, seek high ground immediately, flash over and over. And Jake is yelling, how high are we supposed to go? What counts as high? The couch? And then we hear something, a noise from down the hallway, from the direction of my parents' room. It's a thump, not huge, not dramatic, but just enough to freeze all of us. And Jake whispers to me, Tyler, someone is in your house. Everything in me tightens. My whole body tightens up. Fire alarm, burning smell, tsunami alert, missing friend, and now a noise. I don't want to move, but it's my house, so I stood up. That was unfortunate because I was scared too. Like when I have kids and they tell me that there's a monster under their bed, I ain't checking, okay? I'm scared of monsters too. But anyways, we're walking towards my parents' room and my legs feel like jelly, but I keep going anyway. The TV is still blaring behind us. The glow from the TV screen flickers down the hallway. I reach my parents' door and slowly push it open, but this time with a baseball bat in hand, just in case. I mean, I was never good at using it when I was actually playing baseball, so maybe I would put it to better use here. But when I fully open that door, nothing jumps out, nothing moves. So we look through all of the room, under the bed, everything, because we knew for a fact a loud thud just came from in here. Unless it was my dog just tweaking out again, doing backflips or something, I don't know. And we can't figure out exactly where the sound came from until we walk by my parents' closet. closet. Because that's when I see a little crease of light coming from in there. Against everything my mind was telling me, I opened the closet door and saw where the light was coming from. It was coming from the ceiling, but more specifically, the door to the attic that was on the ceiling. That door was open, just a few inches, but enough. And let me just tell you, normally that door would never be open. I'm shaking now because I've seen those weird videos before where a person is living inside someone's attic for months and they never even know about it. I've also seen times where it's been an animal living up there. Both thoughts are equally scary. I mean, if rent keeps going up so much, I might do that. Then the door to the attic slightly moves and something appears at the edge. It's a leg, a real leg this time, followed by a torso. And then I see arms, and then I see a face. And who is it? Randy, covered in attic dust with his hair a mess. He looks down at us from the ceiling like a homeless dude who had been living there for months. And then he just goes, yo, we're all shocked. Jaw is on the floor and no one else says a word until Marcus finally goes, yo, did you see the news? There's a tsunami warning. We need to get out of here. Without responding to Marcus, Randy fully climbs out of the attic, dusts his hands off, glances at the still blaring TV, and casually grabs the remote from the nightstand. Presses the power button, the TV turns off, and all of a sudden, there was no siren anymore. We all stare at him, still having absolutely no idea whether he was involved in all this, because it seemed impossible. Like, if this all were him, he was the best magician ever. So then I go, Randy, where have you been? He smirks and then says, up there, obviously. Then Jake goes, are you the reason the smoke detector was going off and the garage was open and literally everything else that happened? Then he goes, you guys want to know what really happened? Nah, bro, we don't care at all, you know? We're not curious why you've been hiding in the attic while we've had 3 catastrophic warning sounds go off. Of course we want to know what happened. So Randy goes, okay. You guys pretended to smash my leg with a sledgehammer. And after you did that, I tried just going back to sleep, but I couldn't. I had way too much adrenaline from thinking my leg just became barbecue chicken. Then he points to the ceiling and goes, so that's when I came up with a plan. I waited until you all went to sleep, then I grabbed a lighter, a pan, and a piece of paper. Started having fun. The first alarm going off, that was me holding a lighter right next to the smoke detector. I knew that would startle you guys, but once you went back to sleep after that, I had to take it a step further. So next, I burned tiny bits of paper right next to the air vents so you guys could smell it. We're staring at him like we don't know whether we should be impressed or worried about his mental health. Then he goes, the tsunami alert, that was just a YouTube video I cast from my phone onto the TV. We're all just staring. Can't think of anything to say. And as for the garage door randomly being open, he never said that was him actually, but I'm guessing it was. But anyways, then he finishes. And while you guys were running around freaking out, I was literally right above you watching it all happen through the air vent. He smiles, and then like a villain, he goes, congratulations, now we're even. So I say back to Randy, that is the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Now get out of my house.